Welcome back to Dice to Pixels. We're here with episode 43. Tonight we've got a few spicy stories. We've got wizards being jerks. We've got the UK government being jerks. And we've got ASUS not being jerks, but releasing something that I don't think any of us want. Links and everything down in the description. We've got timestamps, and let's go. Sarah, you were going to say something about ASUS.
Oh, I was just going to, also, I think we talked about it briefly before.
We did.
But we have been kind of informed of possibly more news, but.
Yeah, well, so there's a leaked price. Yes. That's the big thing. So the new news, and it looks legitimate. It's coming from a Best Buy listing. So we can pretty much take this to the bank. There's very little chance that this is wrong. And basically what it means is that the top spec ASUS handheld is going to be $699 US. So that's the facts of the situation. We don't know how much the lower spec is going to be. We only know the top spec. My personal guess is it won't be that different. The screen is more expensive that they're using. The chipsets are more expensive. And I don't know what kind of battery life it has because they've added more of everything and dropped the weight over the Steam Deck. So I don't know what the battery looks like, but my assumption is that the gap between expensive and cheap won't actually be all that different. It depends a little bit on storage because, of course, Steam Deck, the storage is the sort of major decider on price. So we'll see. I will say that at $700, it holds absolutely zero, like negative interest.
Yeah.
We talked about it on the podcast, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And kind of my stance was, and I think we all generally agree with this, is that I don't care what it costs, as long as it doesn't have the cute little touchpad. Like to double joystick, nah, not interested at all, even a little bit. So
well, being a year older now, I hate things a lot more. So yeah, no, the touchpads on the Steam Deck are like a huge sell. Playing a game, even a first-person shooter, and just having that much more control over movement, looking, and all that, and
Well, and it goes beyond that because like this is a device that. And the ASUS is the same. This is a device that you are intended to be able to play Windows games on. That is the entire purpose of this. Now, ASUS has a benefit in that it is an actual Windows machine. It's not running emulation. On the other hand, Steam Deck, the fact that a lot of games require mouse input, those touchpads are essential. They're not nice to have. They are essential. So leaving those out on the ASUS, I actually don't know what the hell they were thinking. I'll give one a shot if I get my hands on one at some point, but honestly, I just don't care. Yeah. If they can offer it to me at like $200, maybe, but even then, I don't know. It's just not a product that I think will be any good. So,
yeah, especially, and like I said, Steam Deck. We've said it before. Well, I said it before. I think Steam Deck's eventually you're gonna see them as like the kind of the handheld leader. Like it's gonna be Nintendo and Steam Deck just.
I think so too. Yeah.
So,
and I think there's a handful of reasons for that. But the input on like the control scheme for a handheld system that you are expecting to play games that were not designed for that system. That is where Steam Deck nailed it. They gave you a control scheme, a button scheme and everything else that works for everything. There are very few games that you can't make something work on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. And thankfully the community section too, going into for controller options, you can find like pre-made mappings and stuff to use for any game on there. So
really?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I might try Torchlight 2 again because it had control schemes. It was just uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so there's two nice things. One, if the game doesn't have fantastic controls out of the box, somebody in the community may have fixed it. And then also, even if it does have decent controls, there's often people who have like submitted their own like flavor of control, and sometimes they're better. Yeah. Which the control scheme stuff is great. It's a great ad, but I can say with absolute certainty that there are probably 3 games so far that I would not have been able to play on the Steam Deck if it hadn't been for the touchpads.
I'm curious about that now.
So far.
Yeah.
And it comes down to anything that requires mouse or keyboard input, period. Because you can't use the touch screen. I mean, you can.
It's just awkward.
Not in the middle of a game, you can't.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's where ASUS is planning on people just being able to like use the touchscreen. It's like, nope, that will not. There will be games that you can't play that way. And as long as that's the case, I'd have a hard time buying it. There will be a bunch of people, like we said the last time we talked about this, there will be a bunch of people who just want that FPS boost, and they'll accept the worst controls because all they want to do is play a controller game mobile, and great, fine. That's not the magic of the Steam Deck. The magic of the Steam Deck is being able to play Commander Keen from, a million years ago. Although, in fairness, that would probably work fine on the Aces. Actually, I'm not sure it would. It's kind of a weird one. But anyways.
Yeah.
Steam Deck, we all think Steam Deck's still the better system. I'm going to try and get my hands on one, though, so that we can give it a shot. If any of my friends buy one, I'll bring it. I'll borrow it. I'll swap them for the Steam Deck for a week.
No, but yeah. That's probably going to be the only way I'd want to try it is if somebody else
had
like
it,
if you got it, or like I'm not. We have the Steam Deck, and
none of us are frame rate junkies. Like
I can be.
You can be.
You can be, but you're also not like always trying to optimize everything. You just prefer a better frame rate.
Yeah, like if I have to choose between performance and quality, like graphic quality, I'll always take performance. I like the 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's also something to be said for expecting 60 FPS on your Xbox X versus on your handheld. Like, I have personally never cared if the Steam Deck drops below 60 FPS.
Yep.
And I don't think I'm in the minority on that because the Switch exists and is the most popular system. And the Switch routinely drops below. Like, that's sort of my weather vane for this is like, ASUS is basically banking on, hey, we've got the smoothest graphics. We're going to kill it with power. But like the Switch is the exact opposite of that and is by far the best selling handheld that exists today. So I don't know. It seems like going the opposite way of what the market is telling them to go. So a little weird. Maybe they'll sell millions. Well, they probably will sell millions, but millions isn't that many in console numbers. So maybe they'll sell tens of millions.
2
mil?
No. Just
two.
two.
Just two. Oof. That'd suck.
That would, yeah.
So you know what else sucks?
Yeah.
This whole Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering sending Pinkerton after somebody?
Yeah, which I realize is what I was supposed to start with, but then I was doing it in order. So
yeah,
well,
I mean,
that's my bad. To be fair, I've been completely out of it. You see, I went up a level last Wednesday and subsequently hurt my back and my shoulder, which laid me out for the past 5 days.
Yeah.
So I'm
Chad's an even older man now.
Yeah, man, it pisses me off.
So wish him a happy birthday in the comments if you haven't already done it on Discord, or do it anyways, whatever. So
yeah, you two were telling me about this, so I'm just
so I'll recap the facts of the case first, and then we'll talk about some thoughts. So what happened was streamer Dan Cannon, streamer YouTuber, got his hands on the
March of the Machine, Aftermath.
I was thinking it was March of Machines, but yes, March of the Machine Aftermath, which is it's a special set. It's 50 cards, I think, is the number. And so the booster packs are very small. They're like 5 card booster packs instead of your typical like 13 or whatever. And the idea is it's a very small set that tells like an epilogue to the last set. So there's March of the Machine. Mm-hmm. And then this is the epilogue to that storyline.
That's cool.
It's a neat idea.
Yeah.
A lot of people are grumpy about it because, I mean, they're of course charging more than they should for these.
Yes, of course.
But it's a neat idea. They're trying something new. I don't fault Wizards for trying something new. The set was, I mean, the set's still not out, just to be clear. This was, Dan Cannon got his hands on these, I'm going to say a full month before release, maybe even more than that. Do you have the release date?
It says some point on April 20th. That's when the video was published, and they are not expected to arrive in stores until May 12th.
There you go. So not a full month, but almost a month before these were supposed to be available. To the point that my understanding is that Wizards had only revealed like 2 of the cards in the set at the time that it was a live stream, right? I think it was a live stream.
It says published a video, so it might, I don't know.
Not entirely sure. Either way, published a video of unboxing these, like pulling these cards, which Wizards didn't take kindly to, which isn't shocking, right? I mean, this kind of screwed with their entire release strategy for these cards. So what they did was completely unacceptable. They sent Pinkerton agents. Pinkerton, for anyone who doesn't know, is we'll call them a private security firm. Some people would call them mercenaries. They have a bad reputation, and it's a pretty earned reputation. But with that said, it's also a gigantic company, and they do lots of different things. But what they did was they sent these agents to this guy's house and specifically to intimidate him into giving them the cards and taking down the website. Or taking down the video, sorry. Yeah, take down all of YouTube.
Good luck.
So that's what happened. And there's the story of what happened. And the only thing we know for like absolute sure is that when they got there, the agents were like threatening them with jail time and blah, blah, blah. And we know that because both Dan Cannon and Pinkerton have said that happened. So we can be guaranteed that happened. Everything else, we only know one side of the story. So you always take it with a grain of salt. So that's what Wizards did, which is like super gross.
Yeah. Like I can understand sending someone to be like, hey, you have these cards wrong time, take down your video, please.
Yeah.
But like so heavy handed is not cool.
Yeah. Well, and so this is one of those things where I do not want to sound like I'm apologizing for Wizards on this, because what they did was unacceptable. Mm-hmm. But companies like, I mean, this is Hasbro at this point. This isn't even really Wizards. This is Hasbro. They hire security firms. And if somebody's got your product and you want it back, you talk to the security firm. I'm willing to bet that at no point did anybody at Hasbro explicitly say, go and intimidate this guy into giving us the cards. They said, hey, we've got a product leak, go deal with it. And then, etc.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a product leak. We're dealing with Transformers: Rise of the Beast that's coming out in June. So can you go take care of that?
Right. I mean, this is the thing. Like I highly doubt that anybody at Wizards explicitly told them how to deal with it or anything else. The fact is, these are security agencies and they're going to do what they're going to do. That does not make it any better.
No.
But that's, that's how you get from point A to point B. It's not like Wizards was like, go and browbeat this guy. Although maybe they were. Like, I don't know. But I've dealt with these security firms through employers before, because I've had pre-release, like very expensive pre-release hardware. And I know how they are, and they're not friendly people.
Do they not understand nuance?
They are paid to do a job, and they will do that job no matter what. No, I mean, in fairness, when I was being guarded by the private security, because I had a prototype that I was walking from building to building down a public street, so I had an escort. Yeah, very kind to me. Yeah, very not kind to people around. I mean, he wasn't like punching people out or anything, but like, if somebody didn't give me enough space, he would make sure that they gave me enough space. They're decks.
Yeah,
they're professional decks. This is what
in
they
more
do.
than one way.
Yeah,
from Pinkerton. Yeah,
I just picture the video of like the dude slapping everybody. Like,
So I've had some experience. I know how these things operate, and my guess is that that's just the way they do business.
Yeah.
And that's not an excuse. That's not acceptable, but that is the way they do business. And in fairness to them, not that they deserve much fairness, the video got taken down.
Mm-hmm.
So they did their job.
Yep.
And this will go on their balance sheet as a successful mission, which is not great. But anyways, the other side of the story is that Dan Cannon, and I want to be very careful here because we are not saying that we know anything one way or the other, had this whole story around like how he got the cards and like he thought it was just an innocent mistake and didn't think anything of it and blah, blah, blah. That is, let me choose my words carefully. That is a very hard thing to believe coming from someone who makes trading card videos. To the point that I personally do not believe it at all. That's not to say I know better or anything else. I want to be careful legally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very hard story to believe.
Yeah, it seems like for someone that would be making those types of videos to begin with, you would have an awareness of whether or not something's been released and whether or not how much of it has been announced and whether it may or may not be appropriate to do a thing now. Yeah,
and hey, like let's be clear. Like if he got the cards through no fault of his own, if he ordered them and they shipped the wrong cards, then great. He's totally in the clear. I start to wonder, we have a cat whining at us. I start to wonder when somebody who clearly should know better is playing it off as like, well, I didn't know, it was no big deal, blah, blah, blah. It's like, now I don't believe you.
Yeah. See, if it was like me or Chad, because we've never, well, Chad used to play Magic, but I have like no knowledge of Magic at all. And I was like, these are cool because I love the art in the cards. And I was just like, let's show the world. Yeah. I would have no idea. And then, yeah, that excuse from me would make sense. But someone that is heavily involved in that.
Very hard to believe.
Yeah.
Very hard. And makes me question some of the other things that they've said on the subject. Because like it's not to say that he did anything wrong by posting the video. If he got the cards legitimately, so to speak, then yeah, they're his property. He can post a video. That's fine. But when you start telling me that you didn't know and you didn't think it was a big deal and blah, 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 it's like, see, now I wonder about the rest of your story. So I think there's a possibility that this is a situation where everyone was being assholes. There's a possibility that somebody specifically knew what they were doing and orchestrated something, and then the company got pissed. And in that case, I think everyone's being a jerk. But we don't know, and we have no choice but to mostly take his word for it. Either way, we know for a fact that what Wizards did is like just super shitty.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll put a link to the article. Just he explains. Well, there's a bunch of them, but we'll post a link.
There will be an article.
Yeah, there's just some of the stuff that he says that Pinkerton did like at their home is just like, dude, wow. And
this is the thing where like I've dealt with them. So well, not them specifically, but I've dealt with similar outfits, and so none of that would surprise me. Yeah. At the same point, that would be the easiest thing in the world to lie about. And as soon as you start telling me things that are hard to believe, I start having trouble believing what you're saying. Yeah. I am carefully not saying he's, lying or anything else because I have no evidence of that. Yep. But if the story had been, yeah, totally, I got these pre-release cards and I knew full well that the video would get a massive number of clicks, so I posted it, I would believe every word coming out of that person. As it stands, I'm like, I don't believe that you didn't know this, so now I have to wonder about the rest of your story. Yeah. And lesson is, not that he is necessarily lying, but when something like this happens, don't fucking lie, because it makes people not believe you. Yeah. Oddly enough.
Yeah. No matter what it is, just be like, yeah, I fucked up.
I'm a content creator. I wanted tons of clicks. Clicky, click, click. Great. No, everybody understands that. Yeah. Again, not saying he did this, but I have hard...
But in general, there's been so many creators that have done that.
Right? Yes. So many.
Yes.
It becomes very hard to believe.
So at this point, I think we're putting ourselves on a platform where we're saying if we fuck up, we're going to say we fucked up.
I would have no reason to lie.
No.
I mean, hey, look, I'll tell you right now, if I get a set of Magic cards legitimately ahead of time, even though we don't do Magic content, I will fucking make Magic content because I want them clicks.
Yeah.
No shame. I'm going to do that. But I'll also be honest about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, that's a weird story because like I said, like Wizards was absolutely in the wrong. They're huge dicks. But you got to start to wonder about the other half of that story too. So, but yeah, link in the description. By all means, make your own judgments. And tell us if you think I'm a stupid asshole, tell us in the comments because I love those comments. Leia, can you let us podcast here and stop whining?
She missed me.
Yeah, she missed Chad.
Yeah, literally.
It's the Leia show, didn't you know?
Yeah.
Did either of you have anything else on that stuff?
Nope.
I want to hear your thoughts on, because I already did a video on this and I already posted an article on the website. I want to hear your thoughts on the UK ruling here, the blocking of this. Sorry, let me clarify. The blocking of the Microsoft Activision merger.
I mean, I was kind of surprised, like that cloud gaming was the reason for it all. Considering that they Microsoft just signed another agreement with, I believe, a company in Spain for some more that result about cloud gaming.
Well, yeah. So Microsoft's been signing all kinds of agreements with cloud gaming, arguably to allay concerns about this merger and try and get it put through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally sure about that. I think that's just their strategy, but I'll elaborate on my thoughts on this a little after you guys have had a chance to press. Did you read their actual ruling by any chance?
Dude, I've been like, again,
Yeah.
Cool.
I've been so freaking laid out.
All right. Well, why don't I recap some of the ruling? And
Yeah, I think so. I'm scanning an article right now because.
So there were two key categories that they looked at when they were doing their inquiry. One was console and one was cloud gaming. And so we know that they blocked it they ruled to block it based on cloud gaming. So it's worth talking about what they said about console gaming first. So basically in console gaming, they said, although Microsoft could take Activision games, Call of Duty, and make it a Microsoft exclusive, they don't think that that's something that they would do.
Yeah, because they'd make more money with it being cross-platform.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
that's pretty key because that's the exact opposite of what they said with cloud gaming because they're idiots. So basically their entire premise was Microsoft is not going to do this for console gaming. It would be financially detrimental to them. So, no problem. Good to go. You can do things. Cloud gaming, I'm pretty sure they got all of the idiots they have on staff in a room and had them each write out a reason and then just publish them without doing any research.
That sounds like every government body when it comes to gaming, because we've discussed similar items like this.
Right? So we'll go in order, I think of probably most ridiculous to least ridiculous. So one of the reasons that they blocked it was that...
I have the 3 things here.
Which 3 things?
The 3 reasons why they rejected it.
Oh, there's more than 3.
Well, I know, but like 3 here is like it did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. Well,
so that was one, but no, the dumbest reason that they blocked it was because Microsoft, by doing the merger, there would be nothing to force publishers to make those games available for non-Windows platforms.
What?
Yeah, right. So first of all, this is under the cloud fucking gaming section, which means none of these asshats have ever even looked at cloud gaming because what do you mean non-Windows platforms? It's cloud fucking gaming.
What?
Like that alone pretty much tells you everything you need to know about how intelligent these people are. Like I said in the article that I wrote on the website, I've only done Xbox cloud gaming on my MacBook. So don't tell me that they're not going to be available for non-Windows platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fuck?
Yeah. If this was like, what, 15 years ago or something, because I remember like it was hard to get games on anything Mac related. But at this point, they're stupid to not make things.
Hell, even if they had a separate section that was like Windows versus Mac gaming, okay. I mean, they would have gotten laughed at for that, but like, okay. Under the cloud gaming decision, they said they were blocking it because it might not be available for non-Windows platforms. You fucking idiots.
Hello, non-Windows platform.
Right? So I should say at this point, I don't care one way or the other about the actual merger. Just in case anyone's like, oh, he's super grumpy because he wanted the merger. I don't care.
No, it has no effect on me. I don't care.
But governments being idiots does bother me. That does bug me. So that was the most ridiculous thing that they said. And then there were a few other things, but one of the, you mentioned the one. Go ahead.
So I got the 3 here. Actually, ironically enough, the other than Windows thing was the second one in this list. So the first one says it did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. The second one is it was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. And then the third one is it would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available as opposed to them being determined by the dynamicism.
That's a word they love. The dynamicism of the market.
Yeah, creative. Yeah, in the market.
Dynamic market is basically what they're trying to say.
They're trying to, what they're trying to say with that is Microsoft would dictate conditions because of a monopoly instead of allowing the free market to do its thing. But they love that fucking dynamicism word, which is, it's fine. It's accurate. It's just weird. Nobody uses that word.
Feels like a unicorn.
I'm going to use it at work just fucking random.
Just put it in a sentence where it makes no sense.
Yeah. I must say, the shop traveler has an incredible dynamicism.
There you go. Yeah. So just to be clear, when they talk about multi-game subscription, what they're specifically referring to is the idea that somebody might want to allow me a Call of Duty and World of Warcraft subscription at a reduced price, as opposed to being able to access, say, all of Activision stuff. And they're saying that Microsoft's proposed remedy doesn't adequately cover that case, which is nonsense because at no point did Microsoft say that that couldn't be done. They said that table stakes, here are our conditions. It's not like they said, we will never allow anything other than this. They just said, like, table stake, here are some example conditions, basically, is what they said.
Yeah.
These reasons are so dumb that I'm actually having issues comprehending them and what they are trying to say.
I was angry reading their ruling overview. I was actually angry reading it. Again, I don't care about the merger, but just the fact that they allowed this nonsense to be made public, bugs me. So what's number 3 on that list?
Number 3 was the dynamicism. That was the
So
that's going to be a piece of merch, just as dynamicism.
Right, dynamism.
So there are a few other reasons. There's a bunch of reasons. They're all done, but So the major reason that I think they blocked it, and there's almost a reason here, this is the least stupid reason, is that right now Microsoft has a majority of users on cloud gaming in the UK. That's because of Xbox Game Pass. Basically what it is a whole bunch of people have Xbox Game Pass, which allows them to use Xbox Cloud Gaming. Whether they use it or not, they are technically subscribed to Xbox Cloud Gaming. The panel decided, or the authority decided that, okay, well, if they have access to it, that means that they use it, which is dumb. But like, okay, fine. You don't know the exact number that use it, so fine. Or maybe Microsoft gave it to them. I don't know, but I doubt that most people use it.
Mm-hmm.
So their argument there is that unlike in the console space where they don't have a majority, in the cloud gaming space, they do have a majority of users, and thus they would potentially limit Activision games to their own platform and withhold it from other platforms in order to, create a monopoly in the cloud gaming sphere. The problem, of course, with that is that that's so dumb that it hurts, because nobody to date has had Activision games on their cloud gaming platform except for GeForce Now. When pre-launch in beta, they pulled it at launch. So they basically said, like, Microsoft will withhold Activision games from other cloud gaming platforms. Activision had World of Warcraft and everything else available for play on GeForce Now right up until launch. And then they pulled it because GeForce Now, NVIDIA, wouldn't give them favorable terms. They wouldn't give them the terms that they want. So Activision is actually withholding their games from
cloud services.
And their argument for blocking this is that, well, Microsoft might do that. It's like, well, guess who's already fucking doing that? So like that almost could make sense, where it's like, yes, they could leverage this to create a monopolistic position, except that Microsoft is the one that's not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They're signing deals with everyone. And Activision is the one that is doing that. So it's like, well, no, actually, the best option for you to get this out to people and get it so that users can play these games on a wide variety of platforms is to do the fucking merger. So.
Yeah. Like the other time that the merger was being discussed in government, they picked the dumbest person that had most surface level understanding of stuff from years ago and let them make all of the decisions.
Yeah. I think I ended the YouTube video that I put out about this. I think I ended it with, it's about the level of competency we've come to expect from governments when it comes to technology.
Yep.
Which I stand by. That's like, this was, everyone involved in that ruling should be embarrassed to have had that put into the public eye.
But they could only be embarrassed if they understood how much they don't understand.
Yeah. No, they won't be. They just should be.
Yes.
So anyways, that, and again, like the merger, good or bad, I got no opinion. I don't care.
Yeah.
But this was just stupid.
I mean, I think it'd be great because I want all these games on Game Pass so I can fucking play them,
Oh,
that's all I care about.
That was one of the other reasons that was one of the other profoundly stupid reasons was by including Activision games in Microsoft Game Pass, that it would give Microsoft an excuse to raise the price of Game Pass, which actually really pissed me off. And I included this in the article on the website because that is this CMA engaging in price fixing.
Yeah.
If Microsoft adds new games to Game Pass, they have every right to increase the fucking price. So by blocking the merger to prevent that, you're price fixing, which is exactly the sort of thing that CMA is supposed to prevent.
Yeah. If they're going to go against that, then maybe they should start talking with Netflix for increasing theirs.
Right?
Yeah, but Netflix sucks now.
Well, yeah. Well, for $20 fucking it does. I think my subscription's up to $21 a month. Ridiculous.
Hi Netflix, you suck.
The problem is they don't suck. They just aren't nearly good enough to warrant the kind of price that they're offering.
Well, and it's funny too, talking about Game Pass potentially, Xbox potentially raising the price of Game Pass. Their quarter 3 financials showed that their revenue was down 4%. Oh no.
Well, I mean, to be clear, revenue down 4% sucks.
Yeah.
But
it was down, but it was up from like last year or something like it.
And I mean, we're in the middle of a deep recession right now. As much as people are like, oh no, we're not. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are deep into recession.
Like they said, like their overall gaming revenue was down 4%, but their content and services revenue was up 3%.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can attribute all of that to Game Pass.
100%.
Like, yeah. Because I mean, that service is fucking
Ugh.
if I know we said it before, if Xbox didn't have Game Pass, this generation would be completely dominated by Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah, well, so on that note, PlayStation announced that they had sold, and this is a bit of a, I think this is a bit of a lie, but they announced that they sold 6.3 million units in Q1, so over the last 3 months, basically. So there's a few things to keep in mind there. So they're heralding this as like the most units they've sold of any console in the history of the company. I think they've been handily beat by Nintendo, but for Sony, this is a record, I believe. I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding with that number, because usually when a manufacturer quotes numbers like that, they're including, like, for them, shipping a unit to Best Buy is considered a sale.
Yeah.
So these are not necessarily 6.3 million units that are actually in the hands of users. Now, to some degree, that doesn't really matter, because one assumes that all of those units will get sold. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't. On the other hand, you know, you had a complete lack of consoles for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever, and then suddenly, you know, Best Buy can actually order them, and they might not, like, in their eyes, they may not get another chance before Christmas. They're going to buy a ton.
Well, yeah, because I was even saying to you there the week before last that you could, the PlayStation 5 was on sale on Amazon at the time.
Yeah. Oh, you can just walk in and get one.
Yeah.
Which is great. And that obviously that has a huge, that's a huge part of why they're selling now, is because they're available.
Yep.
But I think that 6.3 million number is probably a bit of a lie, and not a lie, but like a bit of a misnomer, because I think probably 20% of that, at least, I would guess, is just like all of these manufacturers, or all of these like retailers, just like, give us 500 for this store, because we might not get any more before Christmas. So just give us all of them. And
I imagine that's probably what they mean when it says like hardware sell-in, like sell-in.
Yeah.
So yeah. But then they record high for the fourth year, but 19.1 million units sold for the full year of 22.
Yeah, which is
it's
wow. Good. Yeah. They're saying 22.5 million next year.
Yeah.
Do you think that would just only include like PS5? It wouldn't include, well, I guess the VR isn't out yet, is it?
It's out.
It wouldn't include the VR itself, but any bundles it would include. Yeah. So I mean, like, look, the good for Sony that they're selling them. Good that the demand for them hasn't evaporated. I mean, my demand for it evaporated. I'm sure there are other people in the same place as me where they're just like, I'm kind of over it at this point.
Yep.
But good for Sony. I'm glad that they're selling, because it would have been a shame for that. Like, it's a great system. Aside from the fact that Game Pass makes Xbox better, the PS5 is a great system. It would be a shame for it not to sell because Sony dropped the ball on availability. But I also read that with the last gen of consoles, Sony was outpacing Microsoft sales by more than 2 to 1. And although Xbox numbers, Microsoft is not releasing sales numbers for Xbox, at best guess from people who like amalgamate retail data, best guess is that they are not outselling by 2 to 1 this generation. We'll see if that changes now that people can actually buy them. But so that's interesting. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they also went out and acquired Firewalk Studios for developments of AAA multiplayer games.
What has Firewalk made?
I don't know. Like this is the thing. Like they released this thing, but they don't tell you what Firewalk has made. So I'm assuming they were like if they're,
well, just ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah. I mean,
Call of Duty, Destiny, Apex Legends, Halo.
They've probably done like.
Yeah, they've probably been hired. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good for them.
For everyone.
Yeah, but like it's funny because for the longest time, like, our PS5 just sat there. Because we were all playing, like Sarah and I were both like either on Xbox or we were playing the Steam Deck on PC. It wasn't until last week and then over the weekend, being as I couldn't really do fuck all, that we turned it on because one, the Horizon DLC, Horizon Burning Shores, came out on my birthday, which was Wednesday, April 19th. So I installed that. I turned it on. I think it coughed a few times because, you know, it's just like, it's about time you turned me on. And I installed that. Sarah's been dicking around with that. But then the pixel perfect remasters of the first 6 Final Fantasy games also were released on Sony. So I've got a nice special soft spot in my heart for Final Fantasy VI. And I ended up buying that. So I started playing through that again. My God, I love that game.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's funny because something like that, and this is going to sound horribly irresponsible, and it is, because that's me. Something like Final Fantasy VI releasing on PS5 is more likely to end up with me buying a PS5 than anything that they could do. Like, I am the sort of person that would just like impulse buy a PS5 so that I can play the updated FF6.
But it's not just 6, Adrian.
I know.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well.
I know, which is why I almost went and bought one. But the truth is, you can get those elsewhere, and
you can get them all on PS4 as well.
Yeah. So,
and Steam. Actually, they've been on Steam for a while.
Steam is the big one. Like, I can just get them on the Steam Deck, and that's a better place to play them anyways. So that's why I didn't go and get one.
Yes.
But yeah, that is the sort of game that I would be like, oh shit, I'll go and get one for that. I mean, I bought a PS4 back in the day because I wanted a DVD player. Back in the day when Netflix was still like sending DVDs to your house, I was like, yeah, let's sign up for Netflix. And then I realized on the way home after signing up for it that I didn't actually have a DVD player. So I stopped by Best Buy and bought a PS4. PS3, sorry, 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's like the PS2. The PS2 was a lot of people's first DVD player.
Yeah.
So it was mine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the PS3 was a terrible DVD player.
Yeah.
Because it was loud.
The PS3 was terrible in general.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good. It wasn't a good console generation for Sony.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, and the Xbox. You know what? That generation in general was kind of a miss.
The 360 was great.
Good.
I
thought the 360 was really good.
It was good, but it could have been so much better.
It was better than PS3.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I agree.
Actually, to be fair, that generation kind of went to the Wii because everybody went ape shit for the Wii.
So. Yeah, well, and I think that's part of it is like these days it's like, okay, well, I could get the Switch or I can get the Xbox X or PS5, whatever your poison is. As like, well, these are just completely different products. Like, they're not even in the same ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like, one is a console and the other is a trinket. With Wii U, because the 360 and the PS3 weren't used very well, I think is probably the best way to put it. Like, I don't think they were bad machines. They just weren't really used very well.
Yeah.
I don't think that gap was nearly as large. And so the Wii U didn't really feel like a trinket compared to, like, it almost felt like a competitor. The
Wii, not the Wii U.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Because the Wii U sucked.
Wii U was terrible. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Wii U was terrible. So it was one of those things, like, I think because they kind of dropped the ball a bit, that's where it actually felt like a console instead of a trinket.
It was fun. Well, and playing like Wii Sports.
Yeah.
The first time playing that, like, holy shit. Like, you're just having fun. Like, you're having a blast playing it, doing the various motions, and you're not concerned with looking like an idiot because you're having so much fun playing it.
Yeah.
Like, my our niece and nephew would come over and they would literally just stand there and play bowling or sword fight with each other, in the game. And it was like, yeah, they're having a blast and this is great.
I would be willing to bet that there were more logged hours in Wii Bowling than 90% of the AAA games that came out in the same era.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, considering the number of nights that Chad and I even just did Wii Bowling.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, I know I played the shit out of Twilight Princess on the Wii.
Sure.
But yeah, like the Wii Sports stuff was amazing. Yeah. And then they came out with Wii Sports Resort, which just added more freaking crazy good mini games. So
yeah.
But it was also kind of comical that Xbox and Sony both were like, oh, hey, we got to get in on this. And then that's when you seen the Kinect for the 360 and then the little Move controllers.
Yeah, did you have a Kinect?
I wanted one because I wanted the Fable game.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
It was, I was going to say it was terrible, but yeah. That's another place where I think they kind of dropped the ball. The Kinect was an interesting piece of hardware. Like, I remember using mine to do like 3D mapping to do in the early days of 3D printing.
Mm-hmm.
You could like use it as a 3D scanner to import models.
That's cool.
So you could just like, there are much better versions these days,
yeah,
but you could just be like, okay, I want to scan this and print it. Go, you spin it so that it can get all the edges. And then you have a 3D model. And it was a pretty sketchy 3D model, but at the time it was like revolutionary.
Yeah.
So like the product itself was pretty cool, but the actual usage of it, like,
yeah, that's all I heard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like the Move controllers that Sony had, while better, were also kind of crappy because you needed their camera in order to make them work.
Yeah.
Whereas the Wii, it was just that little thin bar that you just popped on top of your TV. And
I feel like,
and even that, you didn't actually need it. You just needed two LED, like IR LEDs. It didn't matter if it was the light bar or not.
Yeah.
I feel like with the Move controllers, they were poorly designed.
Yeah.
Because they just look like Hitachi vibrators.
I was gonna say that. Like you probably put them in the Love Shop and they wouldn't be out of place.
Right. Yeah. They had a whiff of vibrators.
Right.
Just a whiff.
I'm hitting the X button.
They were unfortunately shaped, but they were also just really badly used. Like, I don't remember, because of course I had them.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever being, let me see how to phrase it. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, this is better than the Wii.
Yeah, no, like just the overall design, just like, I know compared to the little things that we have now for Nintendo, but even the Wii controllers were just sleek.
They were great.
Yeah.
But
am I wrong in thinking, because I've never actually seen a Move controller in real life, were they like bigger?
You used one at gyms.
They're not
to
huge.
play Beat Saber.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've got some in the closet behind this wall.
No, she members.
I remember.
They weren't huge, but they weren't tiny. They were similar in size, weirdly shaped, but similar in size to the Wii. I would love it if I could just get WiiMotes for
the Switch.
The Switch, yeah.
I agree, because I honestly, the WiiMote and the Nunchuck is much more comfortable than using those goddamn Joy-Cons.
Way better. Yeah.
So much better.
Even for my small hands, I prefer them.
Yeah, these bare paws don't work very well with the Joy-Cons. I respect the hell of out of what Nintendo did with the Joy-Cons. They're super cool, but man, do they suck. Like, they are not a good controller.
And like even
the cats tonight.
Yeah, cats are. You can tell I've been missing, right? Even with the Switch, I ended up buying a Pro controller right away because I hated that little chunk of plastic that you slid and that was supposed to be your Pro controller. I also wish that they would come out with a Joy-Con, like a first party. I know you can get second party ones, whatever, but a first party one, instead of the 4 buttons, just give me a fucking D-pad.
Yeah.
Just give me a legit D-pad.
Yep.
On like the Switch, or that I don't need a Pro controller for, or like the Switch Lite.
Yep.
But geez, man, and also why they never made like bigger versions of the Joy-Cons?
Yeah, no,
that kind of boggles my mind too.
This is the weird thing to me is like so we all have Switches, and I never use mine, but I would if I could play the equivalent of like Wii Sports on it with actual controllers, but I can't use the Joy-Cons. Like Mario Golf is fine because Mario Golf, there's like you're pressing like one button at a time. You're not trying to run around. You're not trying to do anything. But for anything more serious than that, like I cannot use the Joy-Cons. They suck. And I'm not buying 4 Pro controllers so that I can play with a party of people. But I might buy 4 Wiimotes, even if they still cost like $80. I might buy those because they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish there was a way you could use them.
Yeah,
I really do. I wish there were, because
I feel like maybe with the Wii, with the number of like dumb add-ons that they produced and sold to put the Wii nunchuck and controller in, it probably scared them away from trying that as a first party product going forward.
They can still make it Bluetooth. Like you can still make them Bluetooth so that you can just buy them and use them on the damn thing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let that be a lesson to all console manufacturers. Use fucking Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Like the freaking remotes, you don't need like something on your TV for the Joy-Cons to freaking work. They can use the exact same technology and make like a Bluetooth Wiimote and nunchuck.
Yeah. But I mean more in terms of like just the actual production of like the tennis racket and the lightsaber stuff.
Fuck all that
No,
crap.
but like because they made so many of those weird little fun things like that, it's probably scared them away from trying stuff like that.
I think what Sarah's suggesting is if they made a new Wiimote to
then
go
like
with
all
the Switch,
these other
people
third-party
would want all of the other shit and,
Would they?
and everything. Is that what you were getting at? Or?
Yeah, well, maybe not necessarily, but now that you've said it, like, yeah, there would be other people that would be like, well, why can't we have a N64 controller that works with this? And
They
like,
do.
yeah, well, yeah, I know.
Yeah, well,
that was the first example because I'm like, that
and it's
seems...
first party.
Yes, I know, but like,
But like the bottom line is, if they had just made the Wiimote Bluetooth at the time, you could just dig your Wiimotes out and use them, which is exactly what they should have done.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone's modified them.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, maybe. That can sometimes be a huge hassle. Depends on how they're built, but I wouldn't be surprised if some enterprising person has done so.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I would love the Wiimote was a cool controller. I really liked the Wiimote. It was felt good in the hand.
Yep.
The trigger and everything, like good. The portrait landscape orientation actually made sense.
Didn't feel like you were going to crush it in your hands.
Yep. People threw them through their TVs, which was an endless source of hilarity.
Now they just bounce off. And the controllers break instead.
That's right. Well, unless you've got no OLED, and then, yeah, your TV's fucked, but they're not very thick.
Yeah, but like considering that they came out with an NES controller, a freaking Super Nintendo controller, an N64 controller for their online, for the Nintendo Online apps, and I think a Genesis one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Are you gonna make like a little Game Boy now? Now that the Game Boy and the Game Boy, are we gonna get like a small little Game Boy controller?
No, fuck that. They should remake the Game
Or
Boy.
just the Game Boy? Like,
Yeah.
The original or like the smaller ones?
I don't care.
and they're gonna have to release it with Tetris again too.
100%. I want the full-on chunk. I want the big boy. But give it like 80 hours of battery life, because like what else are you gonna put in that
batteries?
space?
It's just like the Type C.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yes, but I'm saying like I want a standalone Game Boy, right?
It's just thick plastic and then like everything.
It's tiny.
A chunky sucker. Because like you could put like literally you could put so much fucking battery in that thing, because like the actual electronics these days would be a single chip this big. So I want a full-on chunk, the old Game Boy.
Yeah.
It better not have any color.
I was gonna say, give me the monochrome screen.
green.
Yeah.
100% monochrome green screen. 100. I want it.
I never had one, so that would be a joy.
In fairness, I think there's a project on Hackaday that somebody built one, and I actually have a resin 3D printer, so maybe I'll just build one.
I remember when they came out with that Game Boy Pocket, and then they changed it to like a black. It was like a black and white monochrome.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "This sucks."
I wasn't too big on that, but
Didn't
the
have the
Game
same
Boy,
charge.
the Game Boy Color was right around the corner too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I would be perfectly fine if they gave us a Game Boy Color too, but no, I want the chunk. I want the big one.
Never. My buddy Jim still has his. He has one. I don't know if it's the one that he bought initially, but he still has it like in a box. Like he's a Nintendo collector. So
I mean, the thing is, like, I would want one that you can just like hook up to Wi-Fi and
just
download the
fucking
games.
abuse.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, like those.
that too. No, I want like Kindle style, where you just you connect to the store and you download, Tetris for $3 or something, and just rock on.
Hell yeah.
I would love that, and I'm willing to bet that would sell a lot of copies.
Oh, God.
And would be so cheap for them to make.
Cool.
Yeah, we're getting up to the end of time here.
I love how
end
we
of
just
the
went
universe
on,
happening soon. End of time.
I just loved how we went on that tangent. Just like
it happens.
I know, but it's like it's just the conversations like that are just always so cool to have, and just
Well, that was the original goal here. I mean, as much as we've been doing news, and we'll keep doing news because it's topical and people like it. I mean, the actual the nerd conversations are what this is about.
Yeah.
The news is just a jumping point for it.
Yeah. Nice hot takes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think we'll probably wrap up there. Let us know your thoughts on everything we talked about tonight, especially the spicy stuff with Wizards. And I'm actually really curious what people think of the ASUS thing. I'm curious if we're sort of in our little echo chamber here, or if that's a common thing. But man, without those touchpads, fuck it, I don't want one.
I don't know.
I also wonder if you were to plot out like people who want the ASUS, who are looking forward to the ASUS, versus people who have actually used a Steam Deck. I wonder how much that makes a difference, because I will say, if you haven't used a Steam Deck, I can totally see why people would be like, who cares? It's fine. Yeah. But once you've used one, you're like, no, it's different.
Yeah. Steam Deck is dope. And also, do you want to use your Wii remote and a nunchuck on your Nintendo Switch as well?
We already know that.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone answers yes. That we know that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Take us out, Chad.
All right. Well, hey, like, subscribe, tell all your friends. And if you've already told all your friends, get them to tell their friends. Get their cats to go to their house, tap on their window and say, "Hey, pass the pixels." And we'll see you next week.